my last page is going to be my weekly reading responses. Now, my first weekly reading response is going to be, it just goes in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we did not do a week 5. It was at the end of our, technically little semester, so she just wanted us to focus on our multi-genre projects, just reflecting a little bit on our weekly reading responses. Now, I'm gonna just put it out there, a lot of the weekly reading responses that I've had placed down isn't my strongest writing responses. The weeks that we were supposed to be reading, I was really busy, so I used an app, Speechify, to listen to a lot of my readings, and I did understand all my readings, but it just made it that much harder for the fact that I couldn't write down any notes because I was listening to them to later on try and put what I learned, my thoughts, onto a piece of paper. I am really bad with using citations, so that's why I struggle. I could just give you, I was trying to give a summary of everything and trying to kind of do like a rhetorical session / like annotated bibliography for these readings. So that's just the way I did all my readings. If you go ahead and take a look at them. For our first week, I believe what our reading was, They Say, I Say. And for this one, it was a chapter from a book. And I mean, I really enjoyed this one. I listened to it like 3-4 times to really understand it. And I mean, they did do like a good job as far as keeping me engaged. And as I was listening to it, I was thinking as I was reading the book. I don't know how to better explain that. The way that they kept me engaged, and the way that they were explaining how an author should have their main points, but also introduce points that maybe other readers or other people would think about while the author is explaining their points, and including that into the reading, which was honestly really great. I did have to do that for my persuasive speech, so thank God I read this and paid attention when I did. My second weekly reading response, we read the Bedford Book of Genres. Now, this book, they just explained the genres, which was really helpful for our multi-genre project, as when our teacher had introduced that, I had no idea what I was supposed to do. I had no idea what I needed to do, what genres I needed to do. Genres is such a vast, whatchamacallit, there's so many types of genres. I was lost. It wasn't that I was limited to, it was just that there was too much. And reading this article or book honestly helped me limit and figure out and pinpoint, okay, so these are the genres that I can choose from, which was honestly very enlightful and helpful. Now, for my third weekly reading response, we had read, let me go and take a look, how to evaluate the stuff you learn on the internet, and that was it, I believe. It was just this reading, just looking back on it. Oh, and there you go. The second reading was effectively and efficiently reading the credibility of online sources. Now, these two were very helpful. They both had a layout of how I should evaluate my articles and websites, and then the second one also had the same thing. I have personally never came across like a set plan to really efficiently evaluate things from the internet. All my life, they just, okay, make sure that it's not Wikipedia, or just make sure it's a scholarly journal. But they never really explained to me how I would evaluate that and make sure that it is reliable. And I feel like reading Eleanor Konig's article, she had given some great points as far as finding the author. If the article has and maybe an email or a number at the end where you can contact the author, do it. Because if the author replies, that means that, okay, the author is reliable. You could trust him. You could ask them more questions as far as what was the meaning behind their article. I felt like something like that was honestly very helpful regarding maybe in the future I would need to use it, especially if I do plan on using a book. I could contact the author and try my best to just evaluate it and make sure it's the most reliable source that I can find. Same for reading the Ellen and Alice's Horning's book. This one, let's see what I wrote. I can 100% quote Eleanor Konig's claim that the most regular people aren't that good at critical thinking and taking good notes because of the school system. Oh, okay, I remember now where this, I loved that she was calling out the school system. She had stated something as far as the school doesn't do a really good job at teaching students how to think critically and take good notes. And I second this because obviously I've gone to school, and the schools that I've gone to are all pretty great schools. They did focus a lot on their students. We had IB programs. I went to school with AP programs. So it was a school where they really focused on their smart students. Even though I was taking all advanced classes, I felt like my teachers didn't really do a great job on elaborating on critically thinking and taking great notes, which was horrible because taking notes I did find was helpful in college, and it sucked that I had to learn how to write my own notes. Versus how I could have been taught how to take good notes and how to critically think. Just the same as when I said in my reflection where I learned the real definition of critically thinking. I can't believe I've been in school for 12 years and I've never truly knew the definition of critically thinking until now. And I'm happy that I came across it while in this class, but Lord, did the school system fail on us. That's all I gotta say for my third weekly response. Now, for my weekly week 4 response, for this one, we read responding to other students' writing. So this one, I believe it was 2 articles on how to effectively respond to students or peer review students' work. I listed here the things that I thought were very important, where the main steps when reviewing somebody's work is summarize the argument into your own words, separate your feedback into major and minor issues, and then 3rd, give the type of feedback that you would like to receive, and 4, make sure that your own review is easy to understand. Now, I take the last part super serious as far as you remember that I'm not really good at really displaying my thoughts when it comes to typing it out or writing it out. So I have to take that 4th step super serious. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, I could do it with no problem. I honestly don't mind pointing out things that I think is weird or different, and explaining to the person that I'm reading their paper for. It's just something that has never really been hard for me to do. Of course, I do it as nicely as possible. I'm still a kind soul. But, yes. And I believe that's going to be the end of my Google slide. Very simple, very short. Please My email's on the bottom here, cheyenneamlo@csus.edu. If you honestly have any questions regarding my Google site, or just want to get to know me, or maybe you want my Instagram, I don't really care, to be honest. Just email me. I have no problem emailing you back and speaking to you. If you think I sound like a cool person and you want to get to know me, shoot shot. It's honestly, I don't mind getting to know new people. And that's honestly gonna be it for my Google site. There's not a lot to it, but I tried my best. This is the best that I can display. Please give me any feedback on if you think I should add anything else onto this, because it just really means a lot for any feedback. Thank you very much.